So I actually have a confession to make right at the top here.
Boy, a confession.
Yeah, and honestly, I have this sneaking suspicion, call it a hunch or, I don't know, a psychic premonition, that I am definitely not the only one listening to this right now who is guilty of this specific crime.
A crime. That's a pretty heavy start. What are we talking about here? Grand larceny.
Worse. Much worse. I'm talking about the good plate paradox.
Ah.
See, I have this set of plates in my cupboard. They are beautiful. I mean, I'm talking hand-painted, delicate porcelain, imported, absolute stunners.
Right.
I bought them, I think, 3 years ago in this fit of aspirational shopping. And do you know how many times I have used them to actually eat a meal?
I'm gonna guess 0.
Zero.
Yeah.
Literally not once.
Yep.
Because I am waiting. I'm waiting for a special occasion. I'm waiting for, like, the King of England to drop by for a ham sandwich or
Of
something.
course you are. We all do it.
Right. I'm waiting for the day I suddenly turn into this person who hosts gala dinners on a random Tuesday. And it's not just the plates either.
It never is.
No. It's that shirt in the back of the closet I'm saving for when I, lose those last 10 pounds. It's the expensive perfume I only wear once a year because I don't want to waste it.
Yeah.
It is this constant state of waiting for my real life to actually start.
Yeah.
While my actual life is just happening on chipped IKEA plates.
It's the universal human condition of deferring joy. I mean, we treat our own lives as a rehearsal for a main event that hasn't even been scheduled yet.
Yes.
And that behavior, that specific hesitation you're talking about, is actually the root cause of what we're going to unpack today.
A rehearsal. Wow, that is such a painful but accurate way to put it. And that is exactly why I am genuinely so excited about the stack of research and notes we're diving into today.
Me too. It's a dense one.
It really is. We are doing a deep dive today into a comprehensive guide to abundance and prosperity. But, and I want to put a massive disclaimer right at the top here, blinking red lights and all.
Please do.
If you are tuning out right now thinking this is just financial advice or, investment tips or how to play the stock market, stop. Do not touch that dial.
Yeah, this is not a crypto tutorial.
No, not at all. This isn't just about money. In fact, in the grand scheme of the sources we're looking at today, money is almost the boring part.
It's just a byproduct.
Exactly. This is about a completely holistic approach to having enough in every single area of life. We're talking health, time, relationships, and yes, eventually your bank account.
Precisely. The material we are analyzing today comes from a really deep, almost philosophical set of conversations and texts on energy, psychology, and mindset.
Right.
Like you said, they don't give you a budgeting spreadsheet. They ask you way deeper questions. They ask why you feel poor when you actually have money, or why you feel completely lonely when you're in a crowded room or married.
Which is such a paradigm shift.
It is. They define abundance not by what you have sitting in a bank vault, but by the absence of that frantic, desperate need. It's really about flow.
So our mission for this deep dive is pretty clear-cut. We want to identify the blockages, the invisible walls we build, and sometimes literally build in our own hallways with physical clutter to keep us stuck in a scarcity mindset.
And by the end of this hour, we are going to hand over a practical 5-step toolkit. This comes directly from the source material, and it's designed to help you shift into a state of receiving.
And I mean really receiving, not just politely accepting.
Right. And we should probably warn everyone right now, some of this is going to be incredibly counterintuitive.
Oh, absolutely.
We are going to challenge some very deeply held cultural beliefs. For example, later on, we're going to discuss why pitying sick people or being actively grateful that you aren't them is actually a negative form of gratitude.
Yeah.
One that completely blocks your own abundance.
That one really threw me for a loop when I was reading through the prep.
Yeah.
It completely flips the script on how we are taught to be thankful. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's start with the basics.
Good idea.
How do these sources actually define abundance? Because usually when I hear the word abundance, I picture a yacht. I picture absolute excess. I picture like Scrooge McDuck swimming in a vault of gold coins.
And that right there is the trap. That is the very first error most people make. The source material makes a really vital distinction right out of the gate. Abundance isn't just about cars and houses and boats. It defines abundance as a state of hazmatmek.
Hazmatmek. That sounds, is that Turkish?
It is Turkish, yes. It translates roughly to digesting or assimilating.
Digesting like food.
Exactly like food. Think about the biology of it for a second. You could sit down and eat the most expensive, nutrient-dense meal in the world. Caviar, truffles, organic greens, the works.
Sounds amazing.
Right. But if your body cannot digest it, if your system is blocked or inflamed or missing the right enzymes, that food provides you zero nutrition. In fact, it actually makes you sick. It basically becomes a toxin in your gut.
Oh, I see. Right. You get indigestion, it just sits there and rots.
Exactly. The source argues that life is exactly the same way. You can have the money, the fancy car, the gorgeous partner, the high-level job title, but if you haven't digested or assimilated the experience of having them.
If you're not actually absorbing the joy of it.
Exactly. If you don't feel them, enjoy them, and integrate them into your being, you aren't actually living in abundance. You're just holding on to things. You are essentially constipated with wealth.
Wow. That is a highly visceral image, but man, it makes so much sense. It implies that abundance is an internal capacity. It's not an external pile of stuff you hoard. You literally have to have the stomach for it.
Correct. And the source breaks this down into different categories, which I found fascinating. Take time abundance, for example.
Okay.
Do you feel rushed every single second of the day? Are you constantly checking the clock? If so, then you are living in time scarcity no matter how productive you are or how much free time you technically have on paper.
Oh, wow.
If you have a free hour, but you spend that entire hour worrying about what you have to do in the next hour, you haven't digested that time. It provided you no nourishment.
Oh, that hits home so hard. The Sunday scaries are basically time indigestion.
Yes.
You literally can't enjoy Sunday afternoon because your brain is already projecting forward and worrying about Monday morning.
That's a perfect analogy. You are rejecting the present moment out of fear of the future. And then there is relationship abundance. Do you have people in your life you can actually open your heart to?
Right.
If not, you are in a relationship drought, even if you're legally married or you have 10,000 followers on social media. And health abundance, too. Are you physically, mentally, and emotionally sound?
So it's all about the internal feeling of it.
Yes. The underlying definition they use is really profound. They say abundance is being in a state where you feel the least need. When you stop frantically needing something out of fear, that is the exact moment you are abundant.
Which is the great paradox, isn't it? The whole concept of need versus want. It is just like dating. I think we've all seen this or lived it.
Oh, definitely.
The moment you stop looking desperate, suddenly everyone wants to date you. When you are needy and clingy, you're practically invisible. Or worse, you're a repellent.
It's the energy of resistance. The source explains that when we act from a place of fear, specifically the fear of losing what we currently have, we create massive resistance.
Right.
Imagine holding a handful of dry sand. If you squeeze your fist incredibly tight because you're absolutely terrified of losing that sand, what happens?
It squirts out the sides. It slips right through your fingers.
It slips through. The harder you squeeze, the less you actually hold on to. But if you hold your hand open completely flat, just trusting that the sand will stay there, you can support a massive amount of it.
It's the great visual.
The source uses this metaphor to introduce the concept of stewardship. True ownership comes when you realize that nothing truly belongs to you anyway.
Which is a tough pill to swallow for a lot of people.
Very tough.
Yeah.
But it's true. Not your money, not your house, not even your physical body. It is all entrusted to you for a temporary period of time. When you detach from that toddler's mind mentality, when you stop squeezing the sand, you create the space for more to actually come in.
It's the difference between being a hoarding dragon sitting on a pile of gold in a cave, terrified some knight is going to come steal it.
Right.
Versus being a river.
A river is the perfect analogy. Think about it. A river is abundant specifically because water is constantly flowing through it. It doesn't hold on to the water.
Because if the water stops flowing, it just becomes a swamp.
Exactly. It becomes stagnant, it breeds mosquitoes, it gets toxic. And that leads us directly to the single biggest repellent of abundance according to all our material today: fear.
Fear of loss actually creates the very loss we dread. It's Murphy's Law, but applied to human energy.
Yes. The energetic difference between protecting what I have, which is a scarcity mindset, versus trusting the flow, which is the abundance mindset, is literally everything. It dictates your entire reality.
And this actually transitions us really perfectly into how this scarcity mindset shows up in our interpersonal lives. Because so often We treat people like possessions. We try to squeeze the sand when it comes to the people we love.
We absolutely do.
And I think we really need to unpack this section on relationships. It made me completely rethink some major romantic comedy tropes. We have to talk about jealousy.
Oh, yes, the great romanticizer of toxic behavior.
Seriously. Because in pop culture, jealousy is almost always romanticized. You hear people say, oh, he's so jealous because he loves me so much. Or, well, if she's not jealous, she doesn't actually care about you. It's seen as this ultimate sign of passion. Like, if you aren't fighting and possessive, you aren't really in love.
It really does permeate our culture. But the source material takes an absolute sledgehammer to that idea. It argues that jealousy is almost never about love. Not real love, anyway.
What is it about then?
It's about deep, unresolved inadequacy. It stems entirely from a fear of abandonment. It's a flashing red signal that subconsciously says, I am not enough. When you project that frequency of, I am not enough to keep you, or I am terrified you'll walk out that door and find someone better, you are actually pushing the partner away. You are actively manifesting the exact abandonment you were so terrified of. You're creating a self-fulfilling prophecy.
So let me get this straight. You're worried they'll leave, so you act possessive, controlling, snooping through their phone, being crazy, which makes them suffocate and actually want to leave.
Exactly. You squeeze the sand. And the source brings up the underlying mechanism here, which is attracts. This is where the physics analogy really comes into play. It's about resonance.
Like tuning forks.
Precisely like tuning forks. If you feel worthy and complete on your own, if you genuinely have self-love, you attract partners who value you. You resonate at the frequency of value.
Right.
But if you are looking for someone else to complete you, to fill some gaping hole in your soul, you are broadcasting a frequency of lack. And the universe responds to that. You will attract scarcity in relationships.
You'll attract partners who are also empty.
Yes, partners who feel incomplete themselves, or who are completely emotionally unavailable and cannot give you what you need because they are just as empty as you are. You match their lack with your lack.
It's the classic, you can't love someone else until you love yourself trope, but it's explained with actual energetic physics. But the source also broadened this beyond romance, right? It talked about a relationship drought in general, which I found really interesting.
Yes, and this is so vital for our listeners to hear right now, especially in today's highly isolated post-pandemic world. You can be surrounded by people at work or have a huge family and still be in total scarcity.
It's about the depth of connection.
Exactly. If you have no one, no true friends, no family members whom you can truly open your heart to without judgment, you are in a scarcity state. We need to actively cultivate friendship abundance just as much as romantic abundance.
I really love that perspective. It takes so much pressure off the romantic partner to be your everything. You need a village. If you're putting all your emotional eggs in one basket, that is the definition of scarcity.
You do. And you also need to be a safe harbor for others in that village. The energy has to flow both ways, giving and receiving connection.
Okay, I want to pivot now to something that I teased in the intro, because it is easily one of the most controversial points in the notes we reviewed.
I know exactly where you're going.
We need to talk about gratitude.
Yeah.
Because usually in the self-help world, gratitude is presented as the magic key to everything. Just be grateful. Write in your gratitude journal every morning. But the source warns about a specific kind of gratitude that is actually a massive trap. It's what I'm calling negative gratitude.
And this is a really nuanced point, so let's walk through it carefully. The source describes this incredibly common habit we have of looking at someone less fortunate, for example, visiting a hospital, or seeing someone who is very sick or unhoused, and saying to ourselves, oh, thank God I'm not sick like them. Thank God for my health.
Which, I mean, sounds on the surface like a good thing to do. You're appreciating your health. You're gaining perspective on your own minor problems. It's the whole, it could be worse mentality, right?
On the surface, yes, it looks like gratitude, but let's look at the actual energetic current running underneath that statement. The source argues this is deeply problematic for two main reasons. First, it involves judgment and pity rather than actual compassion. You are literally using someone else's suffering to artificially boost your own sense of safety. You are looking down at their experience to feel better about yours. In a way, you are objectifying their pain for your own comfort.
Yeah, when you say it like that, it sounds terrible. It's like standing on someone's head just to feel taller. At least I'm not that guy.
Precisely. It creates separation. And secondly, And perhaps more importantly, when we talk about manifesting abundance, it is entirely rooted in fear.
Because you're scared of becoming them.
Exactly. When you say, thank God I'm not that, the real subconscious subtext is, please, please don't let that happen to me. You are vibrating with the terror of illness, not the actual joy of health. True compassion, the source suggests, is sending pure love to that person and accepting their journey without needing to use it as a comparison point for yourself. You shouldn't need to see someone suffering in a wheelchair to appreciate your own legs. You should appreciate your legs simply because they allow you to walk.
That is a subtle but absolutely massive shift in perspective.
Yeah.
It's the difference between I'm glad I'm not him and I am so deeply happy I can run. One is totally fear-based, one is joy-based, one is staring at the shadow, one is staring at the light.
Beautifully put. And this fear of bad things happening, this underlying anxiety, leads us to another major cultural phenomenon that the source discusses at length, the evil eye.
Nazar.
Oh, the evil eye. This is huge. It's huge in so many cultures, Mediterranean, Middle Eastern, Latin American, South Asian. The idea that if I'm too happy or too successful and I show it to the world, someone's envy will literally strike me down.
Right.
It's the whole don't tell anyone the good news until the contract is signed mentality, or don't post the baby photo. Someone will look at it with a jealous eye and the baby will get sick. Right. Don't jinx it.
Yeah.
Knock on wood. We all have some version of it. The source offers a really fascinating psychological twist on this superstition. It suggests that if you fear the evil eye, you are actually just afraid of your own power.
Afraid of our own power. How so?
You are afraid of shining too brightly. By saying, don't tell anyone, I don't want to jinx it, you are consciously affirming to the universe that your happiness is fragile. You are saying, my joy is a tiny soap bubble that can be popped by a single passing look from a jealous neighbor.
Wow. So you are essentially affirming your own vulnerability. You're broadcasting to the universe, I am weak, and my success is an accident.
Yes. You are declaring that the envy of others is fundamentally more powerful than your own ability to create and sustain joy. The source says this fear itself is the negative energy. It's not the neighbor's eye doing the damage. It is your fear of the neighbor's eye that lowers your vibration and invites the sabotage. It's a completely self-inflicted curse.
So instead of hiding our joy, playing small, we should, flaunt it. Because that feels a little arrogant, honestly.
Not flaunt it out of ego, because flaunting out of ego is just another form of insecurity. You're trying to prove something. No, the key is to own it out of pure gratitude. Stop settling. Stop apologizing for your success.
Right.
The source specifically warns against the attitude of, this too shall pass when things are good. Or saying, well, this is enough, I shouldn't be greedy and ask for more. That artificially limits your potential.
You're putting a ceiling on it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Instead of capping your gratitude, the source suggests asking questions of possibility. When something great happens, ask, how can this get even better? Or, what else is possible for me now?
How can this get even better? I really like that. It's inviting more in, rather than just bracing for impact and waiting for the other shoe to drop. It's an optimist's challenge to the universe.
It is an open-ended invitation. It shifts the brain out of protection mode and directly into expansion mode.
All right, let's move into the actual mechanics of this flow, the give and take, giving and receiving. Because I feel like a lot of us, especially, and I'll be honest here, a lot of self-proclaimed nice people are really, really good at giving.
Oh, giving is easy for a lot of people.
Right. We love giving gifts. We love volunteering. We love helping our friends move. But when someone tries to pay for our lunch, it is World War III. No, I got it. Put your wallet away. We will physically fight them for the check.
That is the giver imbalance. And it is a classic textbook block to abundance. We are culturally conditioned over decades to believe that giving is noble, selfless, and holy, and that receiving is somehow shameful, selfish, or a sign of weakness.
Yeah, we don't want to be a burden.
Exactly. But the source points out a fundamental law of physics here. If you block the receiving channel, you will eventually block the giving channel. You will run dry. You cannot have an exhale without an inhale.
You can't pour from an empty cup.
It's even deeper than the empty cup metaphor. Think about the other person in that restaurant scenario. If you always give and you never ever receive, whether it's compliments, help, or gifts, you are actively denying the other person the joy of giving.
Oh, wow.
You are hoarding the good person feeling entirely for yourself. You become a bottleneck in the energy flow. And the source says something quite alarming about this, actually.
Which is?
It says that if you refuse to receive willingly, the system, the universe, life, whatever you want to call it, will inevitably balance itself out. It will find a way to make you receive. Or, more accurately, it will force a rebalancing by taking from you forcibly.
Wait, that sounds incredibly ominous. What does that mean, taking from you forcibly?
It means if you stubbornly don't accept the free lunch or the compliment or the offer of help, the energy creates a vacuum. The system might balance that blocked energy by hitting you with an unexpected expense.
Like what?
A car breakdown, a sudden medical bill, losing money in a bad investment. The imbalance must be corrected. You are actively repelling the positive flow of abundance, so the abundance leaves. You are essentially telling the universe, no thanks, I don't need help, I can do it all myself. So the universe says, okay, let's see how you handle this obstacle then.
That is terrifying. So by fighting my best friend over the sushi check, just to be polite, I might literally be manifesting a flat tire on the way home.
In a metaphorical and energetic sense, yes.
Yeah.
You are disrupting the natural flow of exchange. The goal is to be a clear conduit, not a dam. Receiving graciously is just as much of a spiritual act as giving generously.
Okay, consider me warned. I'm accepting all free lunches from now on, for strictly spiritual reasons, of course.
Of course, purely for the energy flow.
This actually brings us to another concept from the text, the concept of pinklick, or the stingy mindset, because there is a very critical distinction here between being frugal and being stingy.
This is a huge distinction. Frugality is wisdom. It's about using your resources efficiently. It's honoring what you have and not wasting it foolishly. But stinginess comes entirely from a deep-seated fear that there is not enough to go around.
Right.
And the most damaging form of this fear is what the Source calls paying with pain.
Paying with pain, that sounds almost masochistic. What does that look like in daily life?
Think about your internal state when you pay your monthly bills. Do you hand over the money or click submit on your banking app while feeling anxiety, anger, or deep resentment?
Oh, absolutely. I click submit on my electricity bill, and I cringe. I'm like, I can't believe it's this high. I hate paying this stupid mortgage.
Right, and the Source argues that paying with that specific energy virtually guarantees that that money will not return to you. You are literally charging your own money with negative emotion as it leaves your digital hands.
You're poisoning the well. You're sending the money out into the world with bad vibes attached to it.
Exactly. The goal is to spend your money with the energy of there's always more, where that came from. Even if you have to fake it till you make it at first, you should ideally say, I am so grateful I have the money to pay for this electricity, which keeps my house warm and safe. Or, I am grateful I can pay for this internet connection that allows me to work and connect with people.
I mean, that is a really hard mental shift. When you are broke, though, when you are staring at a bank balance and it's painfully low, feeling gratitude for a utility bill feels like a massive stretch.
It is the hardest shift, I won't sugarcoat it, but it is also the most necessary one, because if you continually focus on the loss of the money, you generate more loss. That's what you're tuning into.
Right.
But if you consciously focus on the service or the value the money is buying you, you generate more value. And on the flip side of that coin, we also have to look at how we give. Unconditional giving.
Oh, the hidden contracts.
Yeah. Yes. So often, our giving has all these invisible strings attached. I did this huge favor for you, so you definitely owe me one. If you are keeping score, it is a transaction. It is not a flow. True abundance requires giving without constantly looking back over your shoulder to see if they're clapping for you.
I think we've all been guilty of that at some point. I bought her an expensive birthday gift. Why didn't she buy me one? It completely turns a friendship into a sterile accounting ledger.
Exactly. And ledgers are for accountants, not for human souls.
Now, I want to shift gears and talk about something very tangible. We have been very cerebral so far. Mindset, energy, flow, tuning forks. But the source material actually spends a huge amount of time talking about our physical environment.
Yes, the physical space is crucial.
Specifically, the guest China syndrome that I mentioned right in the intro.
This is where the rubber really meets the road. Your physical environment is always a direct mirror of your subconscious mind. Let's talk about clutter for a minute. The Source specifically singles out our clothes. Keeping clothes from 10 years ago, saving them for when I finally lose the weight.
Oh, I am so guilty of this.
Yeah.
I have a pair of jeans from like 2018 that are sitting on the top shelf of my closet, and they are literally mocking me right now. They are bullying me every morning.
When you keep those clothes, you think you're being practical, but you are actually sending two very distinct, very toxic messages to your subconscious.
Okay, hit me.
One, I am not currently good enough as I am right now. Every time you look at them, you feel a microdose of failure.
Ooh.
And two, which is even more tied to abundance, You're telling yourself, when I do eventually get fit, I won't be able to afford new clothes, so I better hoard these outdated ones just in case.
Wow.
It is a literal scarcity affirmation hanging right there in your closet.
I won't be able to afford new clothes. I
Right.
never, ever thought about it that way. I really just thought I was being practical and thrifty. Like, why buy new jeans if I already have these perfectly good ones waiting for me?
It is poverty consciousness cleverly disguised as practicality. The advice from the source is brutal but clear. Clean out the someday items to make physical and energetic space for the now.
Just get rid of them.
Get rid of them. If you lose the weight, you have to trust that you will have the abundance to go out and buy brand new jeans that are actually in style and make you feel amazing.
And this connects so perfectly back to the guest mental block. Why do we save the absolute best furniture, the pristine plates, the nicest rooms in the house for guests we see twice a year, while the actual family uses the chipped mugs and the broken chairs every single day?
Well, because we want to impress outside people. Because we don't want to ruin the good stuff with daily wear and tear.
But think about what message that sends to your own psyche. It says, I am not worthy of the best things in my own home. Only strangers are worthy of that. I am a second-class citizen in my own life.
That is genuinely heartbreaking when you put it in those exact words.
It really is. The actionable tip here is so simple, but so powerful. Use the fancy plates for a Tuesday night dinner of boxed mac and cheese. Celebrate yourself.
Yes.
If you drop a plate and break it, you break a plate. You are fundamentally worth more than the china.
I love that phrase. You are worth more than the china. And the source also mentions the kitchen specifically as a focal point, right?
Yes, the kitchen is identified as a major power center for household abundance. A dirty, cluttered, or completely unused kitchen represents a stagnant life. But cooking, the actual movement of chopping, the smells, the heat, it generates Barakah.
Barakah.
Yeah, which is a word for abundance or blessing.
Yeah.
If your kitchen is dead and cold because you just order takeout every night, your overall abundance energy is likely very low.
So the prescription is simple. Clean the counters, cook a meal from scratch, use the good plates. It sounds almost too mundane, but it's constantly signaling to the universe, I live here, I am present, and I live well.
All right, we are moving into the deep psychology section now. The source material actually links our abundance mindset directly to our parents. This is the Freudian part of the episode.
It's fascinating archetypal work, and it's common in a lot of esoteric traditions. The source suggests that we derive very different energetic templates from our two parents. The mother energy is intrinsically linked to creativity, the feeling of abundance, and the capacity to receive and digest life. The father energy, on the other hand, is linked to outward success, the accumulation of money, authority, and the confidence to go out and conquer the world.
So if I have daddy issues, my bank account might suffer. And if I have mommy issues, my creativity and ability to accept compliments might be completely blocked.
Potentially, yes. The source argues that doing the internal work to forgive your parents is absolutely essential to unblocking these specific channels in your life.
That's heavy.
It is. If you deeply resent and reject your father, you might be subconsciously rejecting the energy of worldly success because you associate it with him. If you reject your mother, you might be rejecting the very ability to nourish yourself or receive love.
So you have to forgive them to get rich.
Well, it's not about condoning bad behavior or pretending trauma didn't happen. It's about clearing your own internal energetic blockage so that you can be free. As the saying goes, you can't hate the root of the tree and expect the fruit to be sweet.
That makes total sense. It's removing the dam again. And right alongside that parental influence, there's the language we grew up hearing, the linguistic programming around money and success.
This is huge. Think about the everyday idioms we use without even thinking. Money is dirt on the hands.
Right. Or bread is in the lion's mouth, which is an idiom meaning it's dangerously hard to just make a basic living. You have to fight a lion for it.
Exactly. Or people sighing and saying, well, who am I to have this kind of success?
Money doesn't grow on trees.
Filthy rich.
Filthy rich.
Stop and really think about that one. We are culturally associating wealth with filth, with being dirty or corrupt. The source points out that complaining constantly about bills or prices acts as a negative prayer.
A negative prayer. That is a chilling way to phrase it.
It's true, though. Every time you complain, you are intensely focusing your energy on what you lack. You are effectively praying for more lack.
So we have to consciously shift that internal dialogue.
Yeah.
Instead of looking at a price tag and immediately saying, I can't afford this, which is basically a door slamming shut in your brain, you have to ask a question. How can I create the value to purchase this?
Exactly. That subtle shift, opens the brain to problem-solving mode. It physically changes the neural pathways from a dead-end sign to an under-construction sign.
I feel like we have done a massive diagnostic on our listeners at this point. We've looked at our closets, our vocabulary, our relationships, our parents, our jealousy. Now, I want to get to the actual solution.
Yes, the toolkit.
The source provides a very specific 5-step manifestation toolkit, and I want to walk through this step by step because the granular details really mattered in the text.
They absolutely do. This isn't just wishful thinking. It's a highly structured process to bring desires from the mental plane into physical reality. It is the how-to manual.
Okay, step 1, precise intention, and the example given in the text was manifesting a Mercedes.
Yes. The key here is specificity, but it has to be the right kind of specificity. Don't just throw your hands up and say, I want a car. Say, I want a white Mercedes coupe, automatic transmission with a cream leather interior.
Yeah.
But here is the crucial detail the source emphasized, and please, everyone listen closely to this.
It blew my mind.
Do not set a specific model year. Do not say, I want a 2025 model. Instead, ask for 0 kilometers or brand new.
Why? Why not say 2025 model? Isn't that being specific?
Because of the time lag inherent in manifestation. If you ask specifically for a 2025 model, the universe might navigate the complex web of reality to deliver it to you in the year 2032. By then, it is an old, used car. You technically got exactly what you asked for, but it's no longer what you actually want. If you ask for brand new or 0 kilometers, it arrives fresh whenever the timing aligns. It keeps the core essence of your desire, the newness, perfectly intact.
That is such a hacker trick. It's like being a contract lawyer with the universe. I love it. Okay, moving on to step 2, scripting. This isn't just writing, I want a car 100 times on a piece of paper like detention, is it?
No, not at all. Scripting involves writing out your desire using all 5 senses. You have to ground the abstract idea in heavy physical reality. You need to write down that you smell the new car smell, you feel the texture of the cool leather steering wheel, you hear the heavy bass in the sound system.
Make it real.
And crucially, you must write in the present tense. I am driving down the highway, not I really want to drive. Saying I want implies to your subconscious that you don't have it yet. It affirms the lack. Implies it is already happening.
Okay, that leads right into step 3, which involves how we visualize. The source made a very clear distinction between imagery and visualization, or rather, associated versus dissociated visualization.
This is a mistake almost everyone makes. When most people visualize their goals, they see themselves in the car like they are watching a movie of themselves on a screen.
Right. They're outside their body looking at a mini version of themselves driving. I do that all the time. I see myself driving down the coast from a drone shot.
Exactly. And that creates psychological distance. That tells your brain that reality is over there, happening to someone else, not happening here to me. You need to see the scene through your own eyes.
Like a first-person video game.
Precisely. You should see your own hands gripping the wheel, the road rushing at you through the windshield. You need to be associated into the image, physically inside the body.
And when is the best time to do this?
The source says the absolute best time is in the alpha or theta brainwave state, right in that twilight moment before you fall asleep, when the critical conscious mind is drifting away. You basically program the subconscious right before it goes on the night shift.
So don't just sit there and watch the movie. Be the protagonist. Feel the steering wheel. Okay. Step 4 is action. The test drive.
This is where people get lazy. You cannot just sit on your couch, visualize a car, and wait for it to crash through your living room wall.
Right. The universe isn't Amazon Prime.
No. You must bridge the gap between the mental realm and the physical realm. You have to go to the actual dealership, sit in the actual car, smell the leather for real, run your hands over the dashboard.
It's about data collection for the brain.
Yes. If you're planning a dream vacation, physically pull your suitcase out of the closet and pack it. Research the specific menus of the restaurants you want to eat at. Treat the desire as an absolute certainty, an impending event, not just a whimsical wish.
Because when you take action, you tell the universe, I am ready. I am serious about this. You are essentially clearing the runway for the airplane to land.
That's a great way to put it. You're preparing the environment to receive.
It's acting as if I truly deeply believed the car was arriving tomorrow, of course I would go test drive it today to make sure it's the exact right one. I wouldn't just sit there.
Exactly. Action is the ultimate proof of belief.
And finally, we arrive at step 5, being the energy. Emotional resonance.
This is the fuel that powers the whole engine. You cannot attract wealth while you are sitting there feeling poor and terrified. You cannot attract an incredible, loving relationship while you are feeling bitter, resentful, and lonely.
The tuning forks again.
Right. The physics simply doesn't work that way. You must generate the emotion of the end result before the result actually arrives in your physical reality.
But that is the hardest part. How am I supposed to feel rich when I am literally staring at a bright red overdraft notice from my bank?
Yeah.
How do I feel deeply loved and cherished when I'm eating takeout alone on my couch on a Friday night?
The source offers a great technique for this. Instead of trying to force a fake emotion, use your brain's natural mechanics. Ask questions of possibility.
Okay.
Normally, when we are down, we ask, why is this happening to me? Why am I always broke? Your brain is a supercomputer. It will search its database and give you 50 sad, discouraging answers.
Because you're a failure, because you made bad choices.
Exactly. But if you change the prompt and ask, how did I get so incredibly lucky? Or how can I feel wealthy right now in this exact moment? The brain will try to answer that question instead.
Even if it's a small answer.
Yes. Even if the answer is just, well, you can afford to buy a really good $5 cup of coffee and savor it in the sun, find the feeling of abundance in those micro moments and expand it. Your reticular activating system, which is basically the bouncer at the door of your conscious mind, will start actively looking for evidence of luck and wealth to prove your question right.
It's literally hacking your own biological search engine. You are just changing the search terms from misery to luck.
That is exactly how the system works.
Man. So let's recap this whole journey. We started today by realizing that our good plates are just gathering dust, because deep down, we don't feel worthy of using them. We realized that our romantic jealousy is actually just us shouting, I'm not enough at our partners. We learned that looking at sick people and saying, thank God I'm not sick, is actually a fear response, not true gratitude.
Yeah.
And we've realized we need to clean out our closets to tell the universe we are ready for the new version of ourselves.
It is a complete journey. From the physical act of cleaning the closet, to the mental act of cleaning out our poverty vocabulary, to the spiritual act of taking action and finally trusting the flow.
And so what here? Why does any of this actually matter for the person listening on their morning commute?
It matters because this is not magical thinking. We're not talking about waving a wand. It is fundamental psychology and neurology. It's the reticular activating system at work. If you fundamentally believe you are unworthy, you will subconsciously sabotage every single success that comes your way. You will gamble away the money. You will pick a fight to push away the loving partner. But if you genuinely believe you are abundant, you will spot opportunities that were always sitting right in front of you, but you were just too scared and closed off to see them.
The source material ended with a really, really provocative thought about bargaining that I wanted to end on.
Oh, yes. The bargain with the divine. We do this all the time.
We really do. We say, I will give 10% to charity if I win the lottery. Or, I promise I will be a better person if you just save me from this terrible situation.
It's transactional.
It is. And the source challenges us with this. Can you give, live, and love without making the bargain? Can you trust that the abundance is already there, just waiting for you to finally stop clenching your fists so tight? Can you just use the good plates today simply because it's Tuesday and you are alive?
That is the ultimate test of abundance, letting go of the conditions.
And that is my challenge for our listeners today. I want you to do one single abundance act as soon as this finishes playing.
Just one.
Put on that expensive perfume just to go to the grocery store. Drink your plain tap water out of the fancy crystal glass. Throw away that chair that has been broken for 3 years that you keep saying you'll fix. Signal to yourself physically that you are here, you are worthy, and you're finally ready for more.
Because abundance isn't something you acquire from the outside world. It's a frequency you tune into.
I absolutely love that. Well, I am going home right now to eat leftover pizza off my hand-painted imported china. Thank you so much for diving deep with us today.
It was a pleasure.
We'll catch you all in the next deep dive. Stay curious.